Today I'm going to teach you how to use the quadratic equation function on the Ti-nspire CX. There was actually another video on YouTube that showed you how to create a whole other document to do this function, but it turns out that there is a calculator function that's built in already that helps you do it, so I'm going to show you how to use that. So first we're going to need to go to calculate. I just press A, or you can use the mouse to navigate to that. And to access this function, you need to go to menu. We're going to use algebra in this case, so number 3. And we're using polynomial tools. We're trying to find the root of the polynomial or the solution, so press 1. And every quadratic equation has a degree of 2, so we're using a degree of 2. But if you had a polynomial, any other polynomial, you could also raise that number to 4 and it would still work. So 2 in this case. And there's two options. You can either find specifically only the real roots or real solutions, or you can find imaginary numbers and real solutions by pressing complex. I prefer complex just because it shows you all of the answers, and let's say you accidentally put the equation in incorrectly and you know there's only real solutions, then you would know to go back and do it again. So I just always press complex. But you could, if there's a question that's specifically asking for real numbers, you could just press real numbers. But I'm going to do complex this time. Okay, so I wrote down these two equations. We have x squared plus 2x plus 1 equals 0, which is a perfect quadratic equation. And that is the first one we're going to enter. So the calculator asks us for the first coefficient for the degree of 2. And so we see here that the squared number has a coefficient of 1. So we're going to write 1 here. And then tab to go on to the next line. The next coefficient is 2. So we're just going to write 2 here. And then we tab again to get to the next number, and it says that, if it focuses, focus, oh, there we go. We're looking for well, this one doesn't have an x, that's a 0, even though it's not focusing. So we're just looking for a plain number, and that number would be 1. So after that, you just press enter twice, and then again, just check that the coefficients are correct, and it gives us the solution. In this case, it just gives us -1 twice, which means that there's only one root, and that is -1. Now let's do our second quadratic equation. We have 14x squared, subtract 7x, subtract 45. Now the only difference between these two is that this one is negative, but that's pretty easy as well. We're going through the same way. Let me start again. We're going to press menu, going to press 3 for algebra, and then 3 again for polynomial tools, and then 1 for finding the roots of the polynomial, and degree of 2. I prefer complex, but you could do real. Press OK or enter. Our first coefficient is 14. Our second coefficient is -7. And remember not to use the subtraction sign. You want to use the negative sign because this will not work. It will just show up as an error. And the next coefficient, or just number, is -45. Press enter twice, again, and we have our two solutions. They are decimals this time, and just a quick tutorial on how to teach you how to turn these into fractions. You're going to want to go up, press enter, go to menu, 2 for number, and then 2 again to approximate to fraction. And just press enter again, And those are the fractions. Now, these aren't reasonable fractions, but if you have a question like on a test or a quiz or something that's asking you for the fraction form, it's probably going to be more reasonable than this. Or you might just have to round up these, around these. And that is how you use the quadratic equation function on the Ti-nspire CX.